So we all know you may Sphira, the Gemara, the Gemara in I don't know which one is up here. You see the ones on the screen, Mifnei Shaloi Nagu covered. You saw that one? You see that the small one, the Rashi print. You see the Rashi font? Okay. So this is the Gemara. This Gemara is in Samich Beis. It's the famous Gemara in Yavamis that that's discussing the why they died during that period of time. They died, the Talmid and Rabbi Akiva. So the Gemara says, Nagu covered Zel is there. They lost 12,000 Kat Shatamidim, 24,000. But like says the Marshav, I'll cover Torah Shal Chaver. None of them will consider about the Torah of their friend. They covered all the Torah. This they died that way. They died from askra. It's some type of throat inflammation. In other words, they mida keneged mida. The Efshad, the kolechad, diber haloshin hara. Any one of them spoke lashon hara. But yimesape begnus chaveru, and they spoke negatively about their friends. The similar lashon hara is askara. So mida keneged mida, you use your koyach hadibur and your throat to speak negatively. So therefore, they were punished with that. Kidarminon beperik bam malikan, I guess. V'amar shemesu bein Pesach latzeres, and also it says they died between Pesach and Shavuos. Lahoyros shemesu behashkacha, they died dafka at this time. Kihu azman memutzel lebrios. This is this man that's perpetrated for brios, for health. This is the time people get healthy. B'karav l'refua kidaminim b'Shabbos kol shekeni any refua tava is good. Bein tivcha la'atzarta, between Pesach and Atzeres. That's when medicine is good. It works well there. Now on that Gemara in Masechta Shabbos, it's Kuf Mem Zayin on the base in Masechta Shabbos. The Gemara there tells us that that Shmuel was an expert. He was an expert in medicine. He was a doctor, and he said that the best time for a medicine is during this period of time. And some Sefer wanted to say it doesn't mean the whole period of time. It means the month that's found during that period of time. The month that's found during Pesach and Shavuos, which is Iyar. And why? Because Ani Hashem Meifecha, I am Hashem, your Fecha will cure you. So this is a time that we should be Basuras Taivas, we should daven for people who are Nizar Refuas, and we'll know people who need it. So it's a time to go ahead and daven. Yeah.
So the man fell in there, and the man didn't. The man killed all your.
It's Chassidish Sefer, the Bnei Yisrael. And that's fine. It's fine. This whole is Chassidish Shavart. This whole thing is Chassidish. One second. The whole thing is a Chassidish Shavart. Maybe I should let them go afterwards. No.
You didn't do it all these years. You're not going to start now.
You never know. My Maggid Shir, my Reish Kailo, Levi Gelfish grew payas after he was a big lawyer, and then he left law. He retired now. A nice pair of payas there. You never know. Okay, so that's okay. A little agadita. Don't get too excited. Just a little agadita. It's not a lot. So we're up to Ayin Amid Beis 2, 4, 6, 8, to about 13 lines from the bottom. So the pasuk says in Mishlei, the pasuk in Mishlei says, "Marbe hono b'neshech u'b'tarbis." Someone increases his wealth b'neshech and tarbis, l'choynein dalam yikbetzenu. So the Hashem will be choynein dalam; they will be gathered in. So Rashi says, if you go ahead and lend money for ribis, it's going to be taken away from you, and it's going to be given to people who are dalim, who are poor. And it seems to, like the Gemara is going to bring from Shava Malka. So says the Gemara, Amarav Kigain Shava Malka, who was a Persian king, and he would take away money from people who made money in ribis, and he would give it to his poor. So therefore, to the poor, Yikbetsen will be gathered in. Amarav Nachman. Amli Huna. Like Nitzucha Ella Dafilu ribis loibit kechavim. Even ribis that you get from a guy. Now this is a pashit in the Torah. It says you can go ahead and take ribis from a guy. Here a memory in the Gemara, and this is the first sugya of the evening. It's a sugya of ribis akum. It's pashit that even to take ribis from a guy is not permitted. It's rabbanan, midrabbanan. Even to pay permit ribis from a guy would not be permitted the rabbanan. That's apparently what the Gemara is saying. So according again, says Rav Nachman Amali Huna, Rav Huna leinitzracha elo dafilu ribis leibit kechafim. Even ribis from a guy. Esvei Rav Nachman lenachri tashich. The pasuk says what? The pasuk says.
Maybe don't forget, like I said, 10 o'clock tomorrow we have to be there, and don't forget to stop by and bring the vests. I don't know, bring.
The nachri tashich, the pasuk says to a nachri you should take ribis, ulachicha loy sashich, but to achicha not. Right. So therefore, Fred the Gemara, how could you go ahead and say the following? That so lenachri tashich, my tashich does tashich not mean that you should go ahead and give ribis, that tishoich, you should charge ribis. Says the Gemara, no, my tashich loy sishach, no, loy sashich, meaning you shouldn't go ahead and take from him, right? But in other words, but he could take from you. In other words, you can't lend him for ribis, but you can go ahead and borrow from him for ribis. So meaning it's mashma, like it's a mitzvah to go ahead and borrow. You can't do it to him, but he could do it to you. Says the Gemara. I'm sorry, I'm a little under the weather. Sagi de lav hachi. In other words, it's one thing. The Torah is being mitzav you to go ahead and borrow from a guy. The Torah is going ahead and they should borrow from a guy. And for the Gemara, no lafuke achicha deloy. Now means lafuke achicha that you shouldn't go ahead and borrow from. You shouldn't take from your brother. It says achicha behavior. I don't need the guy to go ahead to tell me that a guy I can't, but a Jew I could. No, I know I can't. It says openly a Jew, you can't go ahead and charge ribis. Says the Gemara, no love or love basei v'loy sasei. It's to tell me that if you go ahead and you take ribis, there's a loy sasei, it says a loy sasei, it says l'nachri sashich, to a nachri you could take, and from there we learn out that you shouldn't to another yid. So we have, this is a lav haba mechal asei. The asei is to a guy, right? You could give ribis. Mashma from a yid, you can't give ribis to. So if you do, you have two things: a lois asay and an asay. But again, it does. But meaning you cannot go ahead and, according to this Gemara, the first clause, you cannot go ahead and charge ribis to a guy. Again, we'll see a little bit the halacha in a second, and give me a little time. So the first, Rav Huna's din, and Rav Nachman says, Rav Huna, you can borrow from a guy, but you can't lend to a guy. And from a Jew, you can't even lend. Either way, borrow, you can't even borrow. ACV, I'm Mishnah. Love him, and I saw you can lend to them and borrow from them. So you see, you could. It's a Mishnah. And Rav Nachman can't argue on a Mishnah. Says the Gemara, say the ribis, the chem beget taishav. Rav Chia Breid Rav Huna, leinitzcha ella. And here's the first heta, the kedei chayav. You know when it's permitted to go ahead and charge a guy ribis, that's the kedei chayav. Says Rashi. It's permitted. The yosemikam asa midrabanan. More than that is the rabbanon. Dilma asi lemisrach. Maybe you'll come to habitually begin to charge ribis even to a Jew. So the whole din of charging a guy ribis is a gzeira that if you get used to charging ribis to a guy, he'll charge it to a Jew as well. What's the heta? Kidei chayav. Kidei chayav. In other words, you need the money. You need the money. That's the first heta. So guys, again, this whole first Gemara, like something that you took for granted, of course you can charge a guy interest. No, this Gemara is saying you can't. You can't. You can borrow from him and and pay him interest, but you can't go ahead and lend him and charge interest. Gemara says the Mishnah says you could. That's kedei chayav. The heta, if you need it, kedei chayav you could. Ravina Amma, hacha b'tamidei chacham maskinon. Here we're dealing with tamidei chachamim, and time amai gozer rabbanim. What's the reason rabbanim gozer shema yilma ma'asav? The kivin talmud chacham who lo yilma ma'asav. It seems to be Gezeira over here. You're going to be hanging around the goyim. You're going to be hanging around the goyim a lot, and therefore they made a Gezeira that don't go ahead and deal with ribbis, right? Don't go ahead and deal with ribbis. That you shouldn't come to go ahead. No, you shouldn't come to hang around with them at all. I Talmud Chacham, we're not worried. We're secure. So if you're worried about hanging around with the goyim, why are you limiting to ribbis? Any maso mata, any type of business, right? You can. So the Tas says beautifully, since the only people you can go ahead and deal with ribbis are goyim, the mela inevitably you can spend your whole day with goyim. Any other maso mata, you're not limited to a goy, right? But when it comes to ribbis, you're going to be limited to a goy, says the Tas. And the mela what? Therefore, you can't do it. Shmak Taz. Okay, says the Gemara. Yeah, Talmud Chacham, you don't worry about it. He won't learn from the mice. Not to worry. Don't think about it. We'll see. Again, I mean, not getting psak. I'm setting you up for the psak. Again, according to this Gemara, we have two heter. This midrabanan, of course you could. Midrabanan, you can't. Midrabanan, you can't, except for two heterim. Kidei chaya, and what? And Talmud Chacham. Okay. Iked the Masi Lalahad the Rav Huna, Ahad the Tani Rabbi Yosef. In other words, that Rav Huna that we just learned went on this sugya that you can't go ahead midrabanan and go ahead charge a goy ribbis. They learned that men were on a totally different subject. It says im kesef talbes ami esa ani imach. If kesef, you will go ahead and lend to your friend esa ani imach. Ami v'nachri, you have a choice to give to Ami, my nation, or to a guy. Ami kaidem, you give it to a guy first. No, my nation first.
He's saying like
Ashir, you have a choice of Ani v'Ashir. You have a choice of Ani v'Ashir. Ani kaidem. So in other words, an Ashir also it's permitted to give a halva to. Ani yechav ani ercha. Your close relatives and aniyim of your city, aniyacha kaidin, aniyah ircha, aniyah iracheres, aniyah irecha kaidmin. So there's a pecking order. So that's why them kesef. In other words, this is where Huna's din was applied. Who to give, not ribbis, who to give a halva to. The pecking order of what going ahead and lending out. The mitzvah of going ahead of im kesef talvasami. Amamar, going back over this brisa, ami v'nachri, ami kaidem. Pshita. You need a pasuk to tell me that. You need a limit to tell me that. Says, well, yeah, it is. I'm Rav Nachman. I'm Huna like nitzucha dafil nachi beribis. Ul Yisrael bechinam. The nachi beribis. Good guys. According to this, can you lend to a nachi beribis? Yes, that's the key. The second lashon, you could go ahead and lend to a nachi beribis. So you have an option. I can lend my money to a goy beribis or to Yisrael interest free. Then lend to the Yisrael interest fee, and tremendous difference in halacha between the two. The first one clearly, the Rabbanon, you couldn't go ahead and lend to a guy, ribbis, and here clearly you could. It's just a pecking order. Which one's first? Okay, so now let's go see a Tosfos on the Amid Aleph, on the Amid base. The pasuk says, "Tashich leisagi delav hachi." Now. Go down, guys. Count down from the top of Tosfos. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth line down, the first word is Uma. On that last Tosfos on the page, 4 lines is wide. The last word on the line is Uma. We have it? Yes, we're all good? This is, guys, you say this to Tosfos. Listen to this. Uma shenagu ata lahalbais lenachrim. We're going according to the first clause, that to go ahead, it's usher. That bisman hazeh, where's the heter? How come bisman hazeh? We all go ahead and lend beribis to a guy. Omer Rabbeinu Tam mishum de b'shel soifrim holachach amekel. The kaimlon ki'idach lishna the mastin lo de Rav Huna abraisa de Rabbi Yosef v'yosum eyolam Rav Nachman Rav Huna ribis denachri. Guys, geschmack. What did I point out to you? According to the second lashon, the way we learned, ribis is muta. Right? Between giving ribbis to a guy or an interest fee to a yid, who do you give it to? A guy. I mean, you're a Jew, but what do you see? Interest is permitted. So says Rabbeinu Tam, in the Rabbanan Tikadin, we have a chumrah, the first price that does not permit it, and a kula, the second price that it does permit it. What are we going to paskin like? Second price. Okay, that's fascinating. Here's more fascinating. Listen to guys. When did Rabbeinu Tam live? Medieval times. Who couldn't own land in the medieval times?
That's how they making money.
How did they make money? This is the Taisus, guys.
Shakespeare.
This is it. Shakespeare. Says the Gemara. Yeah. Anyway, Joe Shakespeare. Right.
The men were somewhere. So Kim Segel's is under a belt. Is that in this place?
I think if you go down to on East 31st Street, it's the guy there. Okay. Fellas, and even according to the first lashon, what does that mean? That says ribis is asa. Yesh lahata. I got a heta, says Rabbeinu Tam. Yesh aleinu mas melech v'sarim. We're taxed and ad nauseum. V'akol havi kidei chayenu. And therefore everything is what? That's for us to live. We don't have any money to live on. What's the heter according to the first lashon? Two heterim. Second one, Talmud Chacham. First one, Kidei Chayav. So Memela, this is Kidei Chayav. Geshmak is anything. So if you're passing like the second lashon, there's no problem. But even according to the first lashon, we have the heter of what? Kidei Chayenu. V'oid. Listen to this. Sha'anu sharuyim beina umais. We're living among the goyim. The efshal lanu listake b'shum dava. And we can't do business any other way unless we deal with the goyim. Again, what's the whole reason to the ribis is to avoid having to do with the goyim? What's the answer? We're living among the goyim anyway. What are we going to do? Hilkach ein less ribis shemeyilbim v'maisav yoisem mishar masu mata. Therefore, we have no choice. There's no reason to answer it. The whole reason is a moot point. The fascinating how things are not etched in stone. When it comes to the Rabbanon, according to the times, they can make a difference. Lahalacha. Lahalacha. Simin kuf nun tes. Simin kuf nun tes. What is this? What's this? Hilchas Ribis, opening line, Kufnan Tes, Sifkat Nalef, the Vatoira, Muto, Lahalbais, Laivi, Kechavim, Beribis. Min Atoira, it's permitted. The Chachamim Asruhu, and the Chachamim Asidit. Im Loi Kidei Chayav, Oile Talmud Chacham. Who's the Mechaber passing like? The Lishna Rishon, not like Toisus. Oi Beribis the Rabbanon. V'ha'idna, Mutta, says the Mechaber, and adds the Ramah, the Chol Inyan. Va'idna, Mutta, says the Ramah, 2 words, the Chol Inyan. So you have a little overview of of a Gemara that apparently says something that we thought is Mutta. You went to the end of it, but now you know how the halacha evolved beautifully, right? The two Lashonis, according to Taisvis, we passing like the second lashon, according to Rama passing like the first lashon, maybe, but even if you passing like the first lashon, it's either Kedei Chayav and the B'chol Mutta. The Rabbeinu Tam says because we live among the goyim and we're do massive mata anyway, so therefore it's not any different than any other wad business transaction which is permitted. Okay, that'd be very good. Says the Gemara Vaita. Boris Samoyas Eineim Shal Amavi Ribis. Look how the eyes of people who lend beribis are blinded. Adam Karel Chaber Russia. If someone calls us Chaver Russia, someone calls you a Russia, you already You can go fight with the guy. You can go dings it with the guy. You really can. This fascinating Toisus, guys. This is just for fascination's sake. The Toisus, Ayin Aleph. Adam Karel Chaber Russia. Yorid Imay Lechayav. Kaseh b'tshuvas ha'goyinim b'shem Rav Tzaddik goyin. Yorid imay lechayav v'shoy l'saref flish t'vasa. You can burn a third of his flish, a third of his tfuah. B'tema gadol minayin leizeh. That would be something that you can't imagine. But again, you had it. Someone said it. You can't do it, but someone said it. Obviously, So if a person calls you a Russia, you see ad kedei kach, the extreme that one can go to. Go ahead and deal with this fellow. So if someone calls you a Russia, you're in Melachayav. The Heimevi and Adim, and a person who goes ahead and lends for ribis, they bring Adim, the lavler and a cipher, the kulmis and a pen, the dayai Vidayaya and ink, the Koisvin, the Choismin, they write and they sign Ploini Zeh, right? Kiper Belakei Yisrael, Kaifa Belakei Yisrael. It's a Kaifa. You go, you learn for ribbis, guys. What do? You pay for Adim, you pay for scribes, you pay for everything. In Russia, Gedolim Mivat and Kaifa Belakei Yisrael, and nonetheless you go through such a thing. It's an amazing thing that he's blind to his own actions. Guys, he's blind to his own actions. Guy calls you Russia, you're gonna go crazy. But this Malva Beribis, you Kaifa, unbelievable. Tanya of Shimon Lazoina. Kol mi sheyesh le mois umalvay some shalei beribis. Anyone who has money and lends it shalei beribis, Allah v'kosavaymer kaspa le nosha beneshech b'shecha nakil lakach. I say lo yimid lo'ilam. Beautiful capital. David HaMelech writes. I'd share with you. I sent out. I'd like to share with you now. I sent out an Orach Chaim about someone lending money without ribis. So this is going the pasuk that we quoted at the top of the daf. Im kesef talves ami. Right? What's the pasuk say? If it means if, but it means when. Im kesef talves ami es oni imach leisia loy kenoisha leisim love neshech. Don't place upon him neshech. Listen to the way the Orach Chaim touches up this pasuk, guys. Everyone have it? Look in the original daf. It should be there in the original daf. I sent out two things today. What? This should be the first one. This should be the first one I sent down. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you have it? Dov, you don't have it? You have it?
The second one.
The one that has the kudos. That's the second one. Whichever is the one that has the kudos. Okay, I'm sending it out again. Yeah, well, to use special action. Okay. Okay, I'm sending it out to okay, I sent it out again. Okay. V'zelu she'imra. Im kes, listen to this Orach Chaim, guys. Im kesef talves ami. Pirush. Imra isa. Shahoyu lecha kesef. Yoisra ma she'ata tzorich la'atzmecha. If you find that you have more money than you need for yourself, she'ata malveu la'ami. What should you do? Lend it to my people. Teidalecha. And you lend it to people. Teidalecha. What you're lending to him is not your money. It's the chelik of the ani that's with you. In kesef talves ami, it's ani imach. Says the Orach Chaim, any money you have extra is not your money. It was given to you to give to somebody else. So the emisvat, it's his money. How can you charge ribis? It's not yours. It's gewaldig. Gewaldig. How can you? Was there Ramas Kitzarach Liftayach Le Mishalai? Ulai Ki Ramas Le Gamkain Shlayisnashe V'Skadal Ala Ani. Don't go ahead and make yourself greater than the Ani. Beroisai Ki You are Noisein Loi because you're giving to him. Uamru Leisiela Kanaisha Lashin Nisias Naisha. Don't make yourself like a prince, elevated. Umaila Ki Mishalahu. It's his anyway. Nice and low. The Chayz Aloimer Keneged Halva Leisasim Love Damek Neshla. So says the Orach Chaim, gives us a perspective of how to look at money, fellas. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you dai machsari, gives you what you need. Anything you have more than that is not what you need. It belongs to somebody else and what you do with it. So if you give it to somebody, and ani imach, first of all, don't charge him neshech. It's not yours. And second of all, don't hold yourself so great that you gave it to him. It's his anyway. It's not yours. A different perspective of how to deal with money. So a person, very very appropriate. A person who goes to Hermad and doesn't charge, it gives an interest-free loan, he's a person that one is considered he won't be moved forever. We can infer from that, this pasuk, if anyone who does lend for ribis, his property will leave him, you'll get poor. We see people that don't lend for ribis and they get poor. So they get poor for a while, but eventually they recover. People who lend for ribis, they get poor and they don't recover. Pasuk says, Lamit tabit boigdim, hachrish bibala Russia. Why the boigdim, the traders, well, look at the traders, tachrish, they're quiet, bibala Russia, tzaddik mimenu, right? Amar Rav Huna, tzaddik mimenu baleya. Someone who's a tzaddik from him is swallowed up. Tzaddik gomer ain't a baleya. It's like you won't be, it won't be forever. Saying the baleya, you won't be swallowed up forever. Tanya, Rebbe Aimer, Gert Tzedek ha'amal le'inyan mechira, v'gert toishav ha'amal le'inyan ribis any yadeya. Mahu. Okay, there's two psukim. It's a pasuk. This is by a person gets so poor he has to sell himself. It says, a guy gets poor among you, then nimplacha, it says, don't work him too hard. And it says, this is the pasuk now is going to be speaking about a person who sells himself to a yad ger v'toishav imcha umacha chicha imay v'nimcha leger toishav imacha le'eka mishpachas ger. This person is so poor he sells himself to a ger toishav. That's a ger who lives among you. He doesn't eats nevelis, but he keeps the 7 mitzvahs v'nayach. Or to an idol to avoid the zara mishpachas ger. So Rebbe says he doesn't understand how's it possible that you could sell yourself to a ger. That doesn't make any sense. And then there's a pasuk that speaks about and taking ribis. So he doesn't understand that, as we're going to see in a second. So the pasuk says one more time, the first line that gets wide. Gert said the gomer linyan mechira, v'gert toishav gomer linyan ribis any yedei amahu. Gert said the gomer linyan mechira k'dichsiv chiyamach achicha imach v'nimcha lecha. Not only will it be sold to you if he gets too poor, el leger. Shenemar leger, v'loy leger tzedek, not ger tzedek, not a Jew, el leger toishav, a guy. Shenemar leger toishav. Mishpachas ger ze nachri, that's an akum. Kushoyma oile eker, ze nimcha loy v'skechavim refers to someone who sells himself to an idol. Now, chas v'shalom, Rashi points out he's going to schlep water for the idol, or he's not going to be serving the idol. He's going to go ahead and doing services for the idol. Amamar, going back over the Baisa, v'loy lecha el leger, shenemar leger. Remember, the ger koni eved ivri. It's mashma that a ger could acquire a ger toish of guys could acquire an eved ivri. How's that possible? Uriminu, ain't a ger nikna be'eved ivri. I guess this is not a ger toish. It's a regular ger. Ain't a ger nikna be'eved ivri. Excuse me, it's a regular ger. A ger cannot be sold as an eved ivri. You can't acquire a ger. If a ger is the guyer and he wants to sell himself, you can't go ahead and buy him as an eved ivri. The ain't isha of a ger coin an eved ivri, nor can an isha or a ger acquire an eved ivri. Then that's going to be the problem. Ger loy nikna be'eved ivri. It says v'shavel mishpachtay. When a ger goes free, he's paid himself and he returns to his mishpacha be'inan v'haleka. And since he's a ger, he doesn't have a mishpacha to go back to, guys. So in other words, I can't fulfill that. I can't check that box. I can't check the box, but it says by a ger that v'shavel mishpachtay. There's no mishpachtay that he should be go ahead and return to. But the ain isha of a ger koin an eved ivri. No can an isha or a ger acquire an eved ivri. Isha lavurach aro. It's not sneistic, it's because to have a woman be miyachid with a ger, another Jew, it's not probable. Ger nami gemiri, a ger also cannot acquire an eved ivri. Why? The makni, someone who could be acquired, kana could acquire. The loy makni, one who can't be acquired, loy kani. We just established, guys, that ger can't be acquired because he can't fulfill v'shavel mishpachtay. So just like he can't be acquired, he can't acquire. So why do you got a problem? Said Rebbe, I don't understand. How's it possible for a Jew ever be so poor to be sold to a ger? If a ger can't be acquired, a ger cannot acquire. Correct, guy? Here's Rebbe's problem. We have a whole pussy here saying that what? A person so poor he sells himself to a ger. He can't sell himself to a ger. Just like a ger can't sell himself, right? A ger can't acquire somebody. So how can I don't understand the Rebbe says I don't understand the Torah that speaks about what? A ger acquiring an eved ivri. Rav Nachman by Yitzchak, Eina Kainai the Dina Ki Yisrael. He can't acquire the Jew and have a din like Yisrael. Aval Kaina v'Dina Kinachri. So in other words, when it said he can't acquire, it doesn't mean he can't acquire at all. He can't acquire with the same guidelines as when you acquire a Jew. But if a ger could acquire another Jew. Again, we thought that what a ger cannot acquire an Eved at all, and the answer is no. He could acquire an Eved, just not the same way a Jew acquires an Eved. If a Jew acquires an Eved, guys, and he dies within the 6 years, it's passed down to the son. If a ger acquires an Eved, it ends as soon as he dies. It ends. It's not passed down. Okay.
But he still has to treat him like an Eved.
Yeah. Again, he has to treat him everything 1,000%. The Tanya, Hanertza, someone who was old in the ear and serving to Yovel, Vanimcha lenachri, and someone who sold to a goy. Eina oived lo yasa ben lo yasa bas. You don't go ahead and serve the ben, you don't serve the bas. Okay. So, but Rebbe didn't like that teretz. Obviously, he didn't like that teretz. But that was the way that we can answer Pashat Pshat in the Gemara. Amar, going back over the Brisa, Vein Isha v'ger koinen eved ivri. An Isha and a ger cannot acquire an eved ivri. We said why? That the woman, because it would not be a menshlich right for to have a man in the house with her. It says in our name of the Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. Let's say this brisa is not in conjunction with the Tana of Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. The Tanya, Isha koines shvachos. A woman could acquire female servants or slaves. Vein koines avodim, but she can't acquire male slaves. That's our brisa. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, I mean no. Af koines avodim. You can even koines avodim. So obviously, the one that said that an Isha can't acquire an Eved Ivri would not be in agreement with Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. Says you could. I feel it. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel like Kasha kan be'Eved Ivri kan be'Eved Kanani. When do we say you can't acquire, fellas? That's be'Eved Ivri. When could you acquire? That's be'Eved Kanani. Eved Ivri tzniya la. Eved Kanani paritz la. Outside. If she acquires an Eved Ivri, she knows that he's a tznuah in language. And therefore, if they're even Aveira, it's going to be kept on hush-hush. And therefore, she can't acquire one. Conversely, if she acquires an Eved Kanani is Paritzle. He's what? He's a Paritz. And therefore, if they do an Aveira, it's going to be publicized. I mean, Mela, she's worried about that, so you don't have to worry. That's the Svar. It's Ella Haditani Reb Yosef, a Gemara in Avodah Zarah, Amalta, a widow, Leitar Bikal, it's brought down Halacha, in the Simcha Beis in Ebenezer, a woman who's not married, an almana can't have a dog. She can't have a dog. Al shad. V'leitisha beirav by shpisa, and she can't have an inn. A Talmud as a what? As a guest, a host in an inn. The Mishnah about Rav Tzniele again. It's Tzniele, and therefore she's apt to do an avera because then we'll find out about it. Al kalba. If you do an avera with the dog, what's going to happen? Even the misrachba, since the dog is accustomed to be with her, mirsasa, she should be scared. Guys, the dog's going to follow all over the place. People are going to say, why is the dog following all over the place? It must be something happened, right? So she should be scared. So you just told me a svara, then when there's an aveira, like by Eved Kanani, you're not worried. Here you should be worried. Amri, even the chishadile umsa, if you throw some piece of raw meat, misrach basra, the dog will go after. Army Inish, people will say Mishum Umsa the Shadley with the Masraf. They won't say they're going after because they did an Aveira. So in other words, she can't do it because she'll do an Aveira. How does she cover it up? Because people are going to say you fed the dog. Trust me, you feed a dog something, the dog's going to come to you. Ger Toisha Hamel Inyan Ribis Maihi. Okay, so that was the Kasha Rebbe had by what? By Eved Ivri. What about the Kasha by Ger Toisha? We said that Ger Toisha of Inyan Ribis, that you could go ahead and lend Ribis. Or Maihi Dechsiv. The pasuk says, "V'chi yamuch achicha umatu yadoi imach ve'achzakta boy ger v'toisha v'chai imach." So you have two people over here, guys. You have achicha and you have ger toishav. The pasuk says, "Al tikach meitoi neshech v'tarbis." So it says, guys, Rebbe's learning al tikach meitoi is going back on the previous pasuk on both achicha and ger toishav. Guys. Again, the pasuk before lists two people, Achicha, Ger Toishav. Then it says, do not take from him Ribis. Rebbe's learning, it's going back on both. Yet we said that you could. That's Rebbe's problem. What's the answer? It doesn't say Al Tikach Me'iton. It says Al Tikach Me'itoi. It's only go back on your brother. It's not going back on Ger Toishav. It's a singular and singular. Says the Gemara. L'chsiv v'chiyam v'chilamata yoda imach v'chzakta boy ger b'toysha v'chay imach al tikach meitoy neshach v'tarbis yeresim elekecha v'chay achicha imach. That's the pasuk. Uriminu, you tell me that what you can't give, you can't go ahead and take ribis from a ger toyshav. It says lovin mehem umalvin mehen. You can lend to them and borrow from them. But ribis v'chein beger toyshav. So that's Rebbe's kasha. Rav Nachman Yitzchak mikasiv al tigach meitam. Guys, does it say going back on the pasuk achicha and what and ger toyshav meitam from them? Meitoy kasiv al tigach meitoy. Right, me Yisrael. Let's only go back to Yisrael, but in the Chinami and the ger toyshav you could. Rebbe didn't like that teretz, but again, that was the teretz. Guys, you good? Okay. Tan Rabbanan. Al tigach meitoy neshach v'tarbis al atanasila arev. You can't go ahead and lend or borrow ribis to what? But you could be a mashma, but you could be a cosigner. It could be a cosigner. What is a cosigner? That if he defaults, you're going to pay up. If he defaults, you're going to pay up. That's Stamin Arev. Arev Kablan, you go to first. Okay, now. Arev Laman. Ilema Arev Yisrael. If you're going to tell me he's guaranteeing a loan of interest from one Jew to another Jew, but Tana Elu Oivim Bloisase, these are the ones who are over on an Aveira. Hamalva, the Haloive, Ha'arev, the Ha'edim. You want to know an Aveira that is all encompassing? Go ahead and be part of an Aveira of Ribis. Look what you're going to have. How many people are going to be guilty? It says the Arev. So you can't tell me that what? You can't tell me that what it's speaking about a transaction of a loan of a Yid, because an Arev would not be permitted, and you just tell me an Arev is permitted. It says the Gemara, Elo l'nachri. So in other words, if a Jew borrows from a guy, you can be an arev that to pay back the guy. You can guarantee the Jew to pay back the guy. The Gemara, the Kima, the Dina, the Nachri, the Asal Basa Arva, the Din is Basa Arev, Arva, right? Since the guy, you know what the goyim do? They don't go to the borrower. They go to the loiva. They go directly to the arev. But guys, what's going to happen over here? The guy is going to go to the arev. The arev is going to pay it off, and then the arev is going to go to the Jew. The arev going to the Jew is like he's collecting ribbis from the Jew. That's a problem.
He goes just to the principal.
Again, he's collecting the whole loan. He's collecting the whole loan. So you had a problem. He pays the guy, and now he's going to go and take it from the Jew. It's like he's borrowing that from the Jew, and that's a problem. Read the Gemara. So how can you tell me an arev is okay? Kima the dina the nachri the asal basa arva iu nihu the kashakul minei revisa. He the arev now is like taking from the Jew, right? The loiva, the original loiva ribis. No, it's not Marasayan. It's not Marasayan. It's not Marasayan. Again, you have a whole parak hesher. We're dealing with mixed avak ribis. You have a whole parak of avak ribis. You have a whole parak. This even seems more than that. It's mamish. It's a ribis kitsutza he's taken from the guy. It's even more than a vak ribis. It's a whole parak. Again, if you were right, guys, if you would only deal without ribis derabanan, ribis kitsutza, you'd have an amid of Gemara. You'd have an amid of Gemara. The whole parak is speaking about avak ribis, michsek ribis, like Rashi. Some cases michsek ribis. Maybe we'd be yotzei b'dayanim, so it would be similar to avak ribis. The whole parak is dealing with, you find so much, again, look based upon the Orach Chaim we saw this evening. I told you that ribis is in Yeridea. It's not a Choshen Mishpat. It's not a din and din imaminus. In din imaminus, it makes a lot of sense. Ribis makes a lot of sense. You're taking my money and I can't use it. You can use it. Pay me for it. It makes sense. And the person will gladly give it. The person will go ahead and gladly give it. He has no problem. He'll gladly pay it. But Hashem doesn't want that. Hashem says this: your money is your money for what you need. Anything beyond that is for the use, what I want you to use it for. And what does punishment say? You got to keep it. You have to keep on hacking this. To us, Pashut, Choshen Mishpat. It's all about money. It's all about the Benjamins, right? It's not all about the Benjamins. It's all about being squeaky clean. It's all about being on the up and up. It's all, guys. Can you imagine if you had an interest-free loan on your house? You smile. Think about it. How would you pay off that house? Right? You remember you got your loan statement. You took it out and it said front. How much you're going to pay at the end of at the end?
90% of the interest.
Yeah, and it's all front loaded. Yeah, how much you're going to pay at the end? And then there's tzaddikim in the banks. They sell you Oh, pay off your high level credit cards will give you what? A home equity loan. That's the worst. It's the concern that keeps on giving. You know, anyone who you don't have money for simchas, they just the v'chahina. It's amazing how it would be so great if you had a society that interest-free loans would be just unbelievable. It would just be, it's unbelievable. Think about it. How much money in your life you spent on interest? Think about it. It's crazy. Amrav Sheshes Shekiba love Ladim Medina Yisrael. It's over here where the Malva guy, he agreed that you can be an Arev because he's going to go to the Loiva first. He's not going to go to you. So he was a Kabbalah Dini Yisrael. Dini Yisrael first to go to the Loiva and then the Arev. Fred Yisrael. If that's the case, Dini Yisrael Ribis Navi Leishko. Okay, he's such a fine guy. You want to be like a Yid, so why are you charging interest in the first place? So Rav Sheshesh Shekibel Alav Luzuv like Kibel Alav Luzuv. So Makabel. For that he was Makabel. The other thing he wasn't Makabel. One thing was Makabel. Okay, the last thing in the Mishnah was very vague. It said, Malva Yisrael Ma'osav Shal Akum Midas Akum Avaloi Midas Yisrael. It just says a Yisrael can borrow money and lend money from an Akum with the das of the Akum. So it's very vague Mishnah. The Brisa explains everything. Two cases, guys. Tana Rabbana, Halkap. Malva Yisrael Ma'osav Shal Nachri Midas Nachri Avaloi Midas Yisrael. Ketzad. The Brisa is going to explain the Mishnah, guys. Yisrael Shaloiva Mois Min Anachri Beribis. A Jew borrowed from a guy Beribis. Ubikesh Lachsiram Loi. And the Jew is now coming back to pay back the guy. Matzu Yisrael Acher. Now he meets another Jew. And this other Jew needs money. V'amar Loi, he tells the Jew, listen, Tenamli, give it to me. V'ani alalacha kiderach shatamai Loi. And I'll pay him back the same way you'll pay him back. That's asa, because it's going from the Jew to the Jew for ribis. It's asa. However, the meimidu eitzel nachri, if he goes ahead, what? And he does it in front of the guy, and the guy agrees to it, muta, right? He's muta because he's the shliach of the guy who lent it to the second Jew. It's like the guy went ahead and said, okay, you paid me back, and now I'm making you a shliach. So in other words, it's not the Jew lending the Jew directly. The Jew is the shliach to lend for the guy. Guys good? Guys good? Okay, that's case number one. Case number two. A nachri, now the nachri was the loiva, and the Jew was the malva, beribis. Ubikesh lachsirim loy, and the guy now is coming back to pay the Jew. Matzah Yisrael acher, another Jew finds him. V'amaloi tenamli, give it to me. V'ani alacha kederach shatamayla, and I'll pay back the Jew just like you would. Mutta. That's great. Why? Because it's going directly from the guy to the Jew, right? It's not going from a Jew to a Jew. It's going from the guy is the loiva, and now the Jew is taking it from him. That's okay. However, the mehemidu eitzel Yisrael, if they go eitzel Yisrael, asa, then it would be asa. Then in that case it would be asa. Now, why should it be asa in that case? L'chayra, what? That you made the guy a shliach to give the money to the other guy? A guy's not a shliach. So Bishlei must say for the case we just mentioned, l'chumra. That's a chumra to say that the guy is a shliach of the yid. Again, the yid is making the guy a shliach to lend money to another yid. Again, why is it asa? Because one yid is making the guy the shliach to send to another yid. So ostensibly, you're going from one Jew to the other Jew through the guy, and that's a chumra. You know why? Because the guy can't be a shliach. So Bishleim, I can understand why it's asa over there, because it looks like what? It looks like it's going from one Jew to the other Jew to the guy, and it's a chumrah. That's case number one. However, El Aresha, the first case, in the case where you were standing by the guy, and the guy was the malva, and the Jew was the loiva, and now one Jew is standing in front of the guy, give the money to the other Jew, and you said it's okay. Even then, shlichus the nachri, since there's no shlichus to a nachri, guys, two Jews, one guy, the guy lends money. Now, if you do it in front of the guy and the guy says it's okay, right? The guy can't be Mimana Shliach. So who's giving money to who? One Jew is giving money to another Jew. How's it okay? I don't understand that. It says the Gemara, I don't understand that. If you have a connection, direct connection from Jew to Jew, it's ribbis. It's ribbis. So Bishlema in the case where you go, a Jew comes and the guy is the Malva, and the guy says, go ahead and give it to the other one, right? Even though the Jew says to the guy, give it to him. So really, it's a guy giving it to him. It should be mutter. We say asa because we're being machmer. But where the guy is the malva and the Jew is the loiva, and now the other Jew wants to go ahead and get it. We said if you go to the guy, it's good. Why should it be good? Because ostensibly you're the shliach of the guy, but the guy can't be man shliach. So whatever the guy says, not a difference. It's going from one Jew to another Jew. How does that work out? That's the Gemara's kasha. That's the Gemara's kasha. Ela Reisha, the case where the guy was the malva and one Jew wants to lend the money from the other Jew, kivan the ain't shlichus the nachri. Since the first Jew cannot be what? Appointed shliach by the nachri, the second Jew is taking ribbis from the first one. So why is it mutter? What are we dealing with over here? The amalei hanicham al gabe karka v'pater. The guy didn't give it directly to the yid. He put it on the ground, and it's like he paid the guy, and the guy picked it up from the ground. So Mamela, it's not going from one Jew to the other Jew. Says the Gemara, what's the chiddush? Guys, there's no chiddush over here, right? No chiddush. Ella Amra Papi, you know what the case is speaking about? He took it, the guy took it and gave it. There's no shlichus. The guy took it from the first Jew and gave it to the second Jew. And it's the Gemara, so what's the chiddush? I would think that what? The reason the guy is giving it is because the das of the first mal, the loiva, and therefore it's for ribis. Kamash Malon is giving on his own das. Again, you might think the following: you're paying me back, and you're telling me to give it to this guy. I'm doing what you want. I'm doing what you want. It's like the loan going from Jew to another Jew. Kamash Malon, it's like what going from the guy. Avashiyama, ki amrinan ein shlichus lenachri. When we're saying shlichus lenachri, hani mili betruma. Okay, you had a kasha, guys. Why was your kasha? In the case number one, where the guy was the malva, and you had two Jews, and one was loiva and the other loiva. So this guy is telling you to give it to him. So right, and he's making you a shliach to give it to him, correct? Right? We said ain't shlichus, so we had to say it's speaking, put it on the ground. Because no, Rav Ashi wants to be machadish. Then the only time we learn at shlichus is from Truma, atem gamatem. Let's limit it to that. The only time a guy can't be a shliach is by Truma. But over here, he could, and therefore it would work out. Case number one would work out. Says the Gemara. Rav Ashi Amakim in shlichus denachri hani mili betruma al v'chol kula yesh shlichus denachri. However, Rav Ashi brusahi. Brusa means either bedusa, it's a joke, or berusa, it's an outside, meaning it's not correct. Maishna truma deloy. You know why truma you can't be a shliach? T'chsiv atem gamatem ma'atem b'nei bris, just like you are b'nei bris. Avshluchachem b'nei bris, gam b'nei bris. Shlichus kol Torah kula nami mitruma gamin Allah. So therefore, therefore we're gonna have to come onto the terrace that he either put it on the ground or he gave it over to him directly. Ella the Rav Ashi brusi. Ikedi amri Rav Ashi ki amrin shlichus lenachri hani mili inu lididon. Them for us. Avalanan lididu, us for them, havina lahu shliach. So us for them, we could be a shliach. So notice, ein shliach. If we appoint them a shliach, he can't go. But if they appoint us a shliach, they could go. In that case, is the case where they're appointing us a shliach. Again, he's the malva, and one Jew wants to give it to the other Jew, and the Nachav is saying, "Go ahead." So we can appoint a shliach over there. So therefore, I understand why it's mutter. Again, going back in the Reisha, says the Gemara. 1 second. The Hod Rav Ashi bedusa, it's also bedusa. Maishna inu d'ledidon. What's the difference day to us? Like a siv hatem gamatem, the Rabbi shluchachem matem b'nei bris, ashluchachem b'nei bris, and none do nami us to them nami matem b'nei bris kamar. So therefore, the only teretz we have so far is that he put it on the ground or he gave it one hand to the other. Again, Akasha guys is from the case of what? Of the case of where the Nachri was the malva. and one Jew wants to borrow from another Jew, and he's asking a guy to go ahead and appoint. And the guy is saying it's okay in front of the guy. It works. So we had a few questions like how does it work? After all, it doesn't make any sense. He can't be a shliach. So he said it's not a shliach. The guy either he put it on the ground or he gave it to him directly to the guy. A final teretz. Elohad Ravashi Brusi. Ravina Amar Nehi the shlichus l'nachri leslei zechiyah midrabanan islay. Yes, this do be din of a din of zechiyah that the Yisrael could be zoicha for the nachri's need. The second Jew, guys, is zoicha from the first Jew's hand. Good, a guy can't appoint him a shliach, but a din of zechiyah would work. Says Rashi, zechiyah midrabanan islay sheYisrael zoicha litzorich nachri, that Yisrael can be zoicha for the guy's need. Hilkacha hu Yisrael zoicha le midrabanan behalvazu mi Yisrael rishon. Change the gear, so Yisrael rishon. Where do you find such a din that a person's out of the ballpark of shlichus, but it's in the ballpark of schia, guys? By a cotton, says the Gemara. Where do you find such a din? Right, says the Gemara. Ravino amen hidu shlichus nachri leslei zechim midrabanan islay. Midi to have a cotton. It's like a cotton. Cotton lava vagav the leslei shlichus amid aleph islay schia midrabanan. Achnami leishna here too. So therefore, that's how it would work. He's the malva, the second be zeicha from the first one. The second guy yid will be zeicha from the first yid. It says him of loihi. It's not a two shtel to cotton. Yisrael asi lachal shlichus. A cotton Yisrael will eventually come to schlichus. Therefore, he has din of schlia. Akum layasi lachal shlichus. But an akum that doesn't have a din of shlichus will never have a din of zechiyah.